peoples. Let me see. Let me see if I can play. Yeah, I'm gonna just do it like that. I'm gonna turn the volume up. And yeah, let's see if I can do like that. So you're gonna come in the room. Come in the room, I'll show my face. Let me see, at least 1 minute to the video is needed to start. Highlight, okay. Let me see here. Ain't gonna be no camera. Let me see. Nah, I don't never play music on this Joker Tony. Let me put you on speaker though, cause you live with me, my brother. You live, so what's that? We gonna talk this shit. People gonna come in the chat. We put you on speaker. You know what I'm saying? We just doing the chat right now because we had a conversation the other day. Me and my brother had a conversation. We just doing a live. You know what I'm saying? Doing a quick live. We'll name it later, but you know what I'm saying? We had a conversation today about the Real Is podcast, about the earlier show I did. Tony, what you think about the earlier show? I know you ain't completely watching, but we have conversations all the time about, you know what I'm saying? About said topic.
Oh yeah, man. I'm almost through this something, man. But it really won't when I'm on this something today, man.
Yeah, man. You know, I try. You know, I try. Let me see if I can. Shit. Probably loud. I'm trying to make you get close so you can the pick up the volume in here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you know my little speakerphone thing. You know I have to do
Nah,
this.
you sound good.
Okay.
You sound cool. Ain't nobody in the live yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at it say 0-0 right now. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
so
Hop on now. Let me hop on now.
yeah, you can go and hop on the live.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hop on the line.
jump
Hold
on
on.
there. You know, jump in these comments.
Yeah. 1 second.
Live chat on. Let's see. Top chat. What's happening, people? I'm in the room. Let me see who's gonna come in the room. Only been in here, but the show tonight is Truth versus Fiction show. Truth versus Fiction. You know what I'm saying? That was the show tonight. It was a dope ass show. I'm about to play some music in a minute. You know what I'm saying? But I got my brother, the triple T size of me. He will be coming soon at y'all asses for sure. You know what I'm saying? So I want y'all to tune in tonight, watch Truth versus Fiction. Yeah, Truth versus Fiction show on the Wheel This podcast. Tonight you can watch it on right here on YouTube. I was gonna go on TikTok and go live, but I figured since I got the triple T size of me, which is will be coming soon, the triple T size of me. Oh yeah, Tony in the room, in the room. And I'm gonna make Tony one of my moderators in this thing. You know what I'm saying?
He
But
here with my brother Danny. And been about 15 years. He married to my sister. You know, we don't call each other in-laws. We call each other brothers. Cause he done we done bonded like real family over the past few years, and we always motivate each other and push each other to do better. And you know, we been great brother, man. And he want to tell you I appreciate you.
yeah, I appreciate you too, my brother. I mean, that's how we get down. You know, family is family. We always make sure we keep each other in a place of, you know, just understanding, making sure we
Place of truth
understand.
and not fiction.
Say that again, brother.
That we keep ourselves in a place of truth and not fiction.
Yeah, keep us, hey, perfectly said. Keep ourselves in a place of truth and not fiction and never fiction. You understand? I mean, you know, when you live in your life, you know, that's the difference is when you understand how cognitive dissonance taking place because you become delusional about your whole situation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, truth versus fiction is just simply acknowledging the fact that it's better to just, you know, just kind of walk in the light of truth, for real, for real.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's good to be honest and real with yourself. You know, it's good to have high goals, but you have to be in a real starting point. You know, you can have lofty goals, but you know, folks have to realize, you know, that don't happen overnight. You know, it take a lot of hard work. And, you know,
Yeah, that's what I don't think a lot of people don't understand. You know, you're always close to a breakthrough. When shit get a little hard, that means you have to run through adversity. You don't have to look at adversity as always a way of being defeated. You know what I'm saying? You have to look at adversity in the eyes and say, I'm gonna run through your ass.
To me, just to add to me that adversity, I think about a lot of times, like sports and that championship game,
Championship, yeah.
that adversity, sometimes, that be two of the best of the best at it, whatever conference they in. And, a lot of times those games are very close and it had to come down to the last quarter. Everybody giving it all they got because adversity, it's kind of like its own champion, or I just say not adversity, but overcoming or challenges. That's a champion in itself, and sometimes it is you ain't gonna win in the first quarter. You got to go all the way down to the last second, and shit. Sometimes they go into overtime. So
You understand?
anything worth having, you're gonna have to fight for it and really work for it. And if you do get it easy, you're not gonna really appreciate it. Because I've been younger and had things easy sometimes, and I did appreciate it. I end up losing it, and you end up regretting it, and even just to get back to the old thing, I had to fight hard for it. And, really just meditate and look inward and call on the man substance was they've been very valuable to me in this this path that we're heading on. And, they out there and they're real. And, everything you're gonna look for, really just gotta look inside. And, what we always say, study what your brother like to say, that what's that dude that you always like, not see for again, but what's his name? He's here down here in Georgia.
What brother you
What's
talking about?
Your favorite,
Dr. Clark, Dr. John Hendry Clark.
John Henry Clark.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, we say study, show thyself approved.
He said, study to show yourself approved. So, meaning, when people understand, the aspects of how life actually functions, you think about a couple of things. You think about, like, how will I move forward? What tools do I have? When you see, like, professional athletes, as children, don't they have the capability of being coached by a multitude of coaches depending on the level of talent they have?
Yeah.
Right or wrong? You know what I'm saying? Like the level of talent dictates what? How somebody's gonna pay attention to your ass. For real.
And we've met people with talent and they really do that. They just went off their talent. And I've seen people who have talent not go as far. And I've seen people that went further just off sheer hard work, Because I'm not going to say that I'm the most gifted at things, but I'm willing to work at it since, we got your platform going and you're going to show me how to get things going. And, I might not be as great at it because I always, we all have our, I guess I be, but I'm not just a fly off the, I can't just wing, get an oratory like you. But I can work at it and become great at it, So I just don't mind putting in the work, and we care about our family and we want to leave a legacy behind for our family. And and even just doing this like that, this is another thing that we just actually kind of just back in the day. This is at least more constructive. Keep you out of trouble and things like that. So I just becoming more familiar with, and then taking on new talent, because that'd be the hardest thing because people, you get comfortable with routine,
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like the routine, and the routine is good, but when you're trying to go to another level,
You dig?
yeah, you're gonna
Hey, you gotta develop. We call them changing up routines and developing new disciplines. See, everything requires discipline. Like you take the wheel of this podcast. I'm so grateful for, all of the subscribers and globally people that subscribe to the show. People be thinking that, it's all about, your area, your local, your environment. People think about, like we live in the surrounding areas of Atlanta. But at the end of the day, if you think about the full equation, you're like, hey, wait a minute, it's a whole globe out here. You look at a brother like Danny D. I've been all over the globe. I've been places, and I understand. I have relationships with, different people from around the world. So I will always have a different perspective than most, simply because of a couple of things. I've been exposed to a great deal of things that, what I'm saying, it carries forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and just tell your viewers out there too, because you was in the military, so you really got like a free travel thing around the world.
Oh yeah.
People don't want to get, that was your thing, and you're an avid reader, and I like to read too. Folks got to realize too they can travel in their mind too just by picking up a book. Cause I swear, there's been times I done picked up a book and read
My goodness, ain't that the truth?
so, people don't have to always think about traveling. You know what I mean? They can travel in their mind. Of course, you'll get there eventually, but they can start with something simple like picking up something that they may like to read, even if it's a comic book. You know what I mean? Which is kind of things that I like to read. But
Oh, you put me on anime. You put me on anime. You put me on the great anime stories that really be telling the story of the tablets, the story of the Anunnaki. You made people don't understand. Yeah, it got a little tint to it where you see a lot of European-ness, but the stories are clear and true, and that's the stories that they teach in Harvard, saying don't practice these, don't participate in morals and ethics because you'll be a created loser. They think morals and ethics make you a loser, but in all actuality, morals and ethics make you an untouchable.
yeah, they do. But we also have to, understand it too. We also have to bear in mind, some things that people are saying are that some of them they power that we say things that are they're saying that they're moral, but they're really not moral. That moral is a character, from our melanin, from our inception, that is born in our DNA. So like, certain things that people may say that are moral, I'm not gonna say who they are in particular, but we all know pretty much who they talk about as far as like dominant society. A lot of stuff they're trying to say off is moral, you know what I mean? It's really not moral, and like some of our, we have to put our moral from our culture as, what I mean, in there. And those are the ones that work for us. Aren't there different morals? There's some of the different morals work for different people, but, as long as you're not cheating nobody out of anything and lying and stealing, and being honest with yourself and being honest with people. I try to keep it as simple as possible. Those are the foundations that I like to, we both like to build off of.
Well, we have to adhere. You have to adhere to some form of civilization. You did. You gotta kind of really study yourself as well as studying civilization. That's how you're able to understand who your people are in the world. Like, how did we know we're indigenous here? How did we know, Tony? Because of cultural norms and ethics. Like, if you take, I'm from Pensacola, Florida. You are, my wife. Y'all from right here in Atlanta, Georgia. So the people don't understand. Like, okay, how did me and her meet? We met at a nightclub. Yeah, true enough. But at the end of the day, getting to know her, knowing we shared the same type of moral and ethical backgrounds, we had the same type of
All family
viewpoints,
background. All family
family,
background.
all thinking about family, all about, what is family offer, so it's all about that family equation. So me and her, your sister, we share commonalities. Like, oh, wait a minute. So there's like a Southeast Indian trait, where you understand those type of things. So Southeast Indians, we were smart enough to know, like, we didn't want to blend with each other. Like, people don't think Choctaw. They'll think a Choctaw is just a Choctaw, but they'll think a Cherokee is a Cherokee. A Cherokee is a nation. A Cherokee consisted of Mississippians, Powhatan, Pamunkey, uh, Namaste. All these different tribes that they wore a banner, meaning a nation. That's a nation of people. So fortunately, I grew up in Pensacola, Florida, on a reservation. So having that mindset, having that born within philosophical perspective, is something that I can't escape. Because understanding that leads me right back to my roots, American Indian roots, North American Indian roots. Those are my roots. These are my specific roots.
And you know what's funny about all that, throughout these areas we done visited, like when I go to, if I visited Florida, man, I felt at home just like I do it at home, And I just kind of knew that we connected,
Yeah.
different areas. Me, person as far as interacting with people from different regions. I try to get along with everybody, but, naturally, people from the South, you know what I mean, and Florida, Alabama, Mississippi,
Yeah. South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee.
hospitable people,
Yeah.
hospitality, and, if you go up to somebody to your house, you know what I mean, make sure that they feel welcome. And every time I'm always hung out with y'all people, it was just like hanging out with my own family. And, we just expanded over there, and then we kind of found out that both our mamas have the same name,
Yeah.
do that, and our fathers have similar backgrounds, sort of like doing things, and they just taught us to stick together,
Check this
like
out.
that,
Check this out, bro. Check this out. Your mama had two March babies. My mama had two March babies. Like,
I
we're.
didn't know that, bro. Who else in, I know your sister,
Yeah. Don't no names, but it's
yeah,
two
I
of
know your
them.
sister Marvin, I knew she was in March,
Yeah, and I got
and
another sister. I got other sister. She in March. Your favorite one. No names, but
oh,
March.
okay, I didn't know
Yeah,
she was in March too. Okay,
March. Late March, but March still. So it's like
yeah,
those parallels, man. Like, certain people don't understand what, like, having a soulmate is about. Like, having a parallel. You know what I mean? Like, the way you walk through the universe, and then the influences that I've had on you and you had on me, and how, even though times have been tough, both of your parents are gone, and those type of tough, equations that it takes people that love people to keep life going well for all people. Those are catalyst people.
mm-hmm.
I consider myself one of them catalytic people.
Oh yeah, we just help each other remember, man.
Yeah.
And through our studying, it did for a while when mom and pop left, but through studying, there's some therapy and stuff and having dreams about it, man. We realized that they're not gone, and then we just let our baby to see them physically right now. But I think about my parents all the time. And I always see them in like a little family type of setting. It's always nice. You know, if you dream about it, just know that your folks are not gone. That's for anybody who's lost anybody. If they ever want to see their folks again in their dreams, their prayer
rejoice. We rejoice. We rejoice with the other side because the thing is, I mean, who are you if your intuition isn't working and you're gonna make fun of me for my intuition for working? How preposterous is that? That means you should grow as a being. That has nothing to do with my growth and my connection with my ancestors, who some people call dead people. But at the end of the day, aren't you your ancestors? So are you a dead person if they exist inside of you? One make so if two can make one came from two came from four came from eight came from 16 came from 32. 32 came from 64. 64 came from 128. 128 came from 200, 256. 256 came from 512. 512 came from what? 1024. 1024 came to what? 2056? 40, you do 2048. 48. So yeah, 48. So 48 goes into what? 96. And you keep going. We got 10 generations down, and that's how many people you come from. Damn. And you gonna sit up here and put a fabrication above your ancestors. How preposterous is that? You denying you.
Not you, yeah, not you, but the person who thinks like that.
Yes, indeed.
They're not tapping into, you know what I mean, all that they say all. You don't have to always turn out monetary wise. You know, but it will, you know, but sometimes you don't need a whole lot. You know, you get what you need.
You need a proper state of mind for starters. Let's start with a proper state of mind. Let's work on that. Let's work on getting a proper state of being so that you can have a proper state of mind. Right?
Right. Yeah, man. Yeah. So, it's up here chilling with my brother-in-law, man. I was a little nervous, but I'm getting a little comfortable on here. I appreciate you doing a little live with me, brother.
Oh man, it's my pleasure. Triple T size me coming. We coming back with AE, y'all. Me and AE ain't fell out. Now we good, we great, we wonderful. But the thing is, you know, when you got a show and you know things you be moving and life be moving forward, you can bring a lot of equations in. So me and AE, we coming back. I'm gonna call him after I get off this live because we. Man, Dr. Anthony Dixon is a solid, you know, super force. You know what I'm saying? He got a lot going on, and you know what I'm saying. I'm gonna make sure I keep, you know, putting his information. I need y'all to buy his book though. I need y'all to put his information out here. Buy his book, Seminole, all of them. You check out my shows. Check out the last show I did with him. It was a promotion. It was a promotion. That's why you know, the brother is solid. You know, he a MLK sounding cat. You know what I'm saying? I love the way he, you know. Let me tell y'all something. I'm gonna just get one thing straight. You know, some people be like, you know, this is the Will Live podcast, and you know, and I'm like, look here, man, that dude is a phenomenal speaker. He's a phenomenal orator. He's a doctor. He put it all out there. He put it all the way out there for everybody to know and see. Look, I'm me, and I ain't gonna stop being me. And what he say? I'm gonna tell it like it T.I. is. You know what I'm saying? So we love our brother Anthony Dixon in these parts, and we're gonna keep supporting him. We're gonna keep running with him. We're gonna keep he's gonna keep on educating and practicing this thing we call, like he loved too. He loved one thing we call edutainment. You dig? Edutainment. Yeah.
Very interesting story, man.
Oh my God, his story is
He had every reason to quit, but he didn't.
he would not do it. He's a champion. He's what you call a champion. You know, Dr. Anthony Dixon is a champion amongst champions. And then when you see like his background, his thorough background, and his own prowess of how he said, I'm gonna just do it how I want to do it. I'm gonna go the way I want to go. Regardless of how people can say, he was a young man. He was in college. He had to see what else was out there. You know, I look at this, like I've never done any of the things that he's done. I'm like, damn, some of the things he did, it made me clench Like if I had some invisible pearls, I'd clip them motherfuckers, man. Damn, boy, wow. Damn, boy. Woo-wee. Yeah, you know that's. I mean, people need to watch them. I mean, his shorts, his virals. We got. I know we got shorts, but y'all really want to watch a very interesting doctor in a very. Just listen, man. The man has. We go. That's why we gonna keep him on because he got so much more. Man, he's great, bro. Like we. That's my brother. We got a real relationship. So it's like when we actually when he come on the show, I mean we got to get more loose. And y'all don't understand how cool his ass is. He cool as shit. He cool as fan. So I just he's just a doctor, and he has a brand. And this show, even though I'm building my brand, I want to build his brand because I feel like he's just that phenomenal for the world. So people may be like, oh whatever. You know how much education the world knows that right here in America we don't know because it's a whole lot of Americans that don't read, don't want to read, and this my whole show is really based on books and edutainment and showing you how we got our swag, showing you how we got our looks, showing you who we actually are. And people got they seem to have something some of an issue with that for some reason. That's crazy to me. I don't understand that shit.
And I like the fact that, how some people they have talk man and they say some deep stuff, but they don't really got it from somebody else. They don't fight their resources. You know what I mean? They try to
Ooh.
walk on that. Knowledge is for everybody. It's all knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And people, if they don't want to really cite anything that they got it from, I mean, they too interested in listening to them, but they trying to hold on to something that belongs to all of us. So I like that. You know what I mean? But scholarship with everything that so if okay, when you got that from you can cite it. And then for the haters too, you know what I mean, when you cite stuff that can really come back and say nothing because you always gonna get people that just wanna just throw a little monkey wrench in everything. So when you put that scholarship on and you give them the bibliographies and stuff with that bibliography on them, and you let them know, hey now you can just look it up yourself. Don't hit my word.
Hey, chronology bibliography for you Christians out there. Y'all need bibliography, but I'm telling you, this is beyond bibliography. This is what you call chronology. You have to have a chronology of history, and a lot of even like the Dr. Benz and Dr. Clarks, they had a good 6,000 year chronology, but the human history lexicon is much older, and these lands are much older than what you was told in as far as like how the European would tell you. But you would say the European, but we can't do just specifically that. We have to say a dominant class of people, and that exists with multiple races of people. So I hate to hear everybody get caught up on the whole. That's why I try to stay as far as I can from race because it's not truly a real construct. It's just what people buy into, is what you subscribe to. And you don't ever want to put everybody in a box because of the fact that people actually do subscribe to these things that are not real. But you have a great deal of what you would call said Caucasian looking people that will tell you, don't ever call me a Caucasian because that's offensive. And you will have a whole lot of Negro peons out here that say, don't call me black, I'm Indio. So I'm not going to get into the complexities of race because it's not a real thing. It's a fabrication. Let's just be real clear. And the thing is it a fabrication? Yes, because we live under a matrix, an overlay society. So two things can be true at one time. I'm sorry. Get the fuck over it. When you got people that subscribe to shit, well, you already know all skin folk ain't kinfolk. Fuck it.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. We've all kind of experienced some type of, I wouldn't say racism. I say kind of like class, that's me with the colors. Okay?
Yes. Yeah.
conflict with the people of my skin color than the actual dominant society that was out there. And I've seen people like some of these books that we read and quote from, you know what I mean? Those are actually, you know, people from the dominant society that got ostracized for telling the truth. And they didn't want, and they got mad at they got ostracized by their own people for telling the truth, you know? So we
And
just love some of the truth, you know?
and then you got Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson is a Cherokee Indian and the main one telling uh, indigenous Americans that they are African Americans. That's extremely perplexed for you to be wearing feathers because what's for you is not for everybody else, Jesse. You know the
Yeah.
truth, but see, this how you know these agendas have been taking place. Al Sharpton is an FBI agent of 40 years. And he around here on MSNBC getting them big old checks because he live in the same neighborhood as who? He get up in the morning with who? Mika and Joe. You know, these people live in a classist society. They don't live in no real America. They live in a classist society. Al Sharpton is Mika and Joe's friend. That's not his. That's he been knowing them people for 40 years. He, when the last time Al Sharpton lived in Chicago? You know what I'm saying? Al Sharpton is not Bernie Mac. Like if you take a Bernie Mac, right? Take a Bernie. Come on, man.
And now something in DC.
He in D.C. And he from the shop. But all I'm saying is,
No doubt with the on top.
yeah. But the thing is, he get paid heavy. He get paid heavy. They have agendas. Like if we take okay, you got indigenous history, which you don't see nobody talking about dragon canoe. You don't see nobody talking about five killer. You don't see they want these people buried because they say and we say them names that'll wake up your ancestry. If you say them names, that'll make you go want to get a DNA test. Who am I from? So why? So what I'm gonna do? Trace my mom and my daddy back. Then I'm gonna trace my mom and my daddy. What I do, Tony? You seen it for yourself, ain't it? On my, I just did it for my mom and my dad, and went to their mom and their daddy. 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 I got some dark spots, but I solved those issues too. So all of this can specifically be done. It's all I'm saying. It's just you have to have a discernment. You have to want to know. That's the difference.
And just to add to it, brother, you know, sometimes, you know, a lot of this stuff started out with we didn't know what this little thought was in the back of our head, but it was something back there that was telling us something. And you gotta persevere. You know what I mean? Your people done told you you from a certain area, and you believe that.
No, it's what you know, not what you believe. Come on.
That they would know more
Yeah.
about what's exactly going on. So,
Right. Right.
yeah, and then when you started there, you was like, hey, when you started doing your little etymology and doing things and stuff like that, and you know, you find out that you be on the right track. So I tell everybody who researching anything, trust yourself. You know,
Please
do
do.
what you can things and learn to nurture those. You know what I mean? Those not one offs. And once you practice that, and really like if people from the other side talking to you and guiding you, and just also know you're not under nobody. You're on the same level as those other people that said, hey, you know, they trying to tell you, hey, worship, but we don't do no worship, right? We on the same level. I talk to the master just like I mean you talk. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
you know, don't think nothing above you on that. That's a trick bag too, because you know what I mean. Folks don't want to believe it or not. It's still some dangerous spirits out there. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Because they never really learned anything on the side, on this side, and you still be a dumbass spirit. You know what I mean?
Sure enough.
It's out there. It's tricky spirits out there.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, usually the ones that they tell you to leave alone, those are the ones you need to be. You know, I just leave that at that. You know, and shout out to my brother Bobby anyway. Rest his power.
Shout out. Shout out to Bobby Hemmett.
Like I said, as far as like laying down scholarship, he always give all the books that we need to hear, and you know he's kind of he's into the cult, which means hidden. You know that's all it means. A it doesn't mean anything like no taking. Well, taking on the need of people. You know what I mean? Taking on the people.
Yes, sir.
It's not anything like less than. You know what I mean? It's like you can't run a car off one part. You know what I mean? It takes a number of systems working together to create that whole system. So yeah, brother. Finding out that stuff. Just really just freed up my mind to really. You know what I mean? Open up and using that validation. It's just about anything. It's just about things of it's just about that. Just give it time and trust yourself. So that's what me and Brother Danny do. And we move forward with it. You got to realize that it's our time, right? It's our time. And it's all right for it to be our time. We done worked up to this time for it to be this way. So, you just get happy with the change because the climate is changing. And, some people, if they want to be ignorant, it's going to feel real painful to them. But if the ones that are open, hey, it's really like a burden to be able and that's all I got to say, brother.
Oh man, you doing good. I mean, you doing great. But it is a burden being released, being yourself. It's a burden being released, wanting to, pretty much understanding you. Just or just readdressing yourself in another kind of way, readdressing how you even want to position yourself simply because of two things. Two things. One, how have I? What gave me the thought to see myself as, you know, what set my premise? What gave me this foundation? Did I do it, or do I have to rebuild it? Because if I'm not happy with what I have, if I'm not happy with what I see, if I'm not happy with what I, what's around me, I can change it myself. And I think all of us, I think globally, we have the ability to change things ourselves. We just we don't give ourselves enough room to breathe. We have to take it easy on ourselves a little bit. Like, okay, brother Tony, break down what I'm saying in layman's terms.
Say that one more time so that get that right.
Okay. So, all right. So what I'm saying is, if a person can just take it easy on themselves and give themselves a little time to breathe, just to orchestrate a thought or two. I guess just to put one foot in front of the other. You know what I'm saying? So if you give yourself room to breathe, that means you got enough. You can stand up and you can put one foot in front of the other. So I'm just saying in layman's terms, like in our conversation from our experiences, I want you to break down like, break that down.
Okay. So from what I surmise that is, if somebody says start out something, start with the most simplest thing, Start, you'd be surprised how the smallest things are the most profound. It doesn't always take concrete word, it can be something as simple as, providing a service by somebody. Everything is really, it's not as huge and as big as you think, and everybody don't have the same specific word. It's just more or less doing your part. Sometimes the part that you have to do is simple, but it's profound. It's just like a wave when you get through water, You don't have to splash it all the way around, make a big splash. You can just, if you're afraid to swim, hey, just stick your foot in that water and watch that wave move, you know. Yeah. So that's what I was thinking about things like that. Like, don't try to take on too much too soon. Start out with something simple, something that you can do it. Just slowly build down, and like basically chipping away at a mountain, You just keep steady with it, and you keep going. And then you look back over the line. I'm sorry, I'm outside. There's these motorcycles out here. You just keep at it over the time, and don't try to overwhelm yourself trying to take on too much. Just start out with something simple. Sometimes people they want to clean up their house. But it's just you best just start out just go with the flow. Just wash the dishes that day. Come back. Hey, you going to sleep before the next day. operation, you know what I mean, like an AC, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's messed up with it, but hey, when you're doing your AC, first thing you want to see is the power on. If you got power, you know what I mean? See where the power, trace the power to where it's not on. And then once you go there, you know, see if you got verify your voltage, make sure your connection is on. So it's just basically mode of operations and, you know, best practices. And, you know, using just a solid, simple formula to move forward. You know what I mean? Because it's really not that difficult as a lot of folks think. You know what I mean? Some of the most powerful things is just supplying. You know, folks will really be surprised how powerful that atom is. You know what I mean? When you split that sucker, you know what I mean? But our whole body consists of atoms. You know, so.
But what is hold on, brother. Here we go. Well, so how does the atom know it's an atom?
It just does.
Because you know what? Somebody had to tell it was something. That's what I'm trying. It had to be noticed. If that's eye contact. Yeah. It's eye contact. Yeah.
It's in superposition.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? It's just in all levels, and that's what people gotta kind of understand. But you start to get warm to it when you observe it and experience it.
Yeah. Look how you remember what we was talking about maybe 10 years ago about when you take some rice and put it in a cup with some water, and you could talk to all of them differently. You talk to one of them nasty, say, you under a spell, you are nasty, you are dirty. You say, you are sweet, you smell like a flower, you smell like roses. You can tell another one, you can just ignore the other one, just ignore it. Act like it don't even exist. It would smell, it would just be stale. And the middle one would smell like a flower, and the other one would catch a mold. So if you think about the body and what people put in their bodies and how they treat their bodies and how they think about themselves, everything is inside out. It's not outside in.
That's fair.
But it also depends on what outside you're perceptive to and what outside energy you invite in, which is also important. Are we right or wrong here? Because if you understand outside energies are meant to do what? Blend or deceive.
Yeah.
Enhance or bring you down, break you down. Look at what they said when the European came to indigenous. A lot of these things were truth and untruth. But when you have a bathing people, when you got a athletic society, because that's the Americas, we win all the games. We do, you know, we're the most competitive when it comes to track and field and all of the equator sports. We are the most dominant because we are copper color, we are copper based being, not what? Carbon based beings. So that's what made the American Indian do superior class being, which had to be overtaken because we have the same stigma, dominate the world, dominate everything, but we are not dominant of ourselves. We have what you call an overlay dominant culture and society.
Yeah. But the good news is about it that everybody, a lot of us are becoming informed.
Yeah, we're informed. We're becoming aware. And that's why that's why woke and all that had to die. We are aware. We are. How about we just are now? We are. See, well, that's the beauty of being, because everybody that comes here, whether you are black, brown, European, you know, wherever you're from, you claim and you say who you are. But as soon as we say it, we are. We'll what you call vigilantes or something. Like you're not supposed to say that. What do you mean? I'm supposed to forget about all of my indigenous ancestors to appease the globe? No, I know. That's what oral traditions and that's what actually archaeology is here for. That's what genealogy is here for. That's what what you would call Your artifacts are here for. You understand what I'm saying? So when you got artifacts, when you got genealogy, archaeology, when you got all of these things that actually do go in your favor. So you know what do you have? You have factual proof. You have things that are actually um, facts. I mean, some people don't like them. That's fair.
That's fine. You know, still don't make it no less valid. You know, just because you don't like it, the truth don't have no feelings.
It doesn't care about your feelings or my feelings. It is. It's more so important for you to align yourself with the truth than thinking the truth has to align itself with you.
Mm-hmm. And you know, and there's wrong with thinking that you are just as powerful as these entities that can to worship. Shout out to the brother Bobby Heavy. He always used to say, you know, God is never a generator, operator, and destroyer. You know, so like when they say that, when they say those kind of things, yeah, things are in cycles. So yeah, it's time to generate and then let it, then you operate and make it work. But then when it's laying its course, just like I feel like the seasons change. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
Those leaves gonna die and decay and it's gonna make a compost. And that compost gonna fertilize that ground and they can come back up again. So those are just like seasons. You know what I mean?
Because
You know what I mean? The folks need to understand and operate in those kind of principles. You know what I mean? Because when something is being destroyed, that means something else is about to come. You know what I mean? So
oh man, beautifully said.
always and don't be afraid of change. Because change is the only thing that's constantly
It's inevitable.
work.
It's
You
inevitable.
know, yeah, it's inevitable, and it's actually good. You know what I mean? Because if everybody was the same, it really would be a boring world. You know what I mean? I'm not
Well,
going to
let's
find
take
any people
let's
that just thought like me. Now that's kind of like a grown type society. I enjoy variety with different people. And I don't like ignorance. I don't like ignorance. I don't like ignorance. I don't like willful ignorance. That's something that really disgusts me. And you know, certain things, you know, people got to get on. You know what I mean? Just being positive and positive, negative and positive. They, they're they're both needed. You know what I mean? Just like that's with electricity. You know what I mean? You have the negative side and the positive side. The positive side, you know what I mean, pushes out, and the negative pulls in. You know what I
mm-hmm,
mean? So
mm-hmm.
you know, when you're supposed to be talking about, I don't want to deal with that negative, no, that's something your soul is telling you, hey, that's something that you need to look at, and there's a flaw that needs to be
Address.
corrected. Yeah, it needs to be addressed, you know what I mean? It's just diagnosis, you know what I mean? And it's just polarities. They're not good at that, you know what I mean? So when people say those type of things, they're like, I don't want to get that negative, or even when they say, you know what I mean, I don't like to hear hate, but hate is good, you know what I'm saying? Hate
Sure
lets
is.
you know, hate lets you know when, like, you know,
What time of day it
they
is?
person,
Is what time of day it is.
we have
Seriously.
people that prey on children, you know what I mean?
Yes.
That makes things clear, you know what I mean? That
Yeah.
makes it's like, I think that makes it clear that, hey,
That's a
this is not,
pedophile. That's a pedophile. You.
those images are,
Yeah.
they one and the same, you know what I mean? They're one and the same. One serves one purpose and one serves the other purpose, you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
You attack the weak. That's what you do. You attack the weak.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I hate a brother, you know what I mean? I hate a buddy, you know what I mean? But hey, that makes it clear, you know what I mean? The reasons why I hate them because they cause destruction, they hurt people. You know what I mean? They try to dominate people, and there's really something lacking up in them, you know. But hey, bullies need their little butt whooped all the time, you know what I mean?
Yes, they
So
do.
they can get some good gear prices, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you find out that aim and stuff is what they really claim, you know. So yeah, that's how I got to try to stay in the middle balance, you know what I mean, which works for me, you know what I mean. People, if they experience a lot of negativity, they probably might need to start with something positive, you know.
They
But you
should.
don't have to get with both of them, you know. And you know, you want to achieve that balance, you know what I mean, that superposition, you
Well,
know, with
balance.
so go
Just,
ahead.
just to add, balance is extremely important, and I don't think people understand how important that is. And if they do, good. We're just going to expound upon it. We will say
Mm-hmm.
this: when you have balance, you have two things going for you. knowing when to hold and knowing when to fold. And that's the ebbs and flows of life. So if you have the ebbs and flows, then you have to know when to do one thing, do a couple things. As I say, I say one to two things. I always make it two because of redundancy. You always have to have the redundant equation. If you can't say, okay, plan A ain't working, I can't pull this off right now. You got to be able to roll to a alternate that's going to get the same thing done. And if that doesn't work, you can go back to you got two. You see what I'm saying? Always understand congruency. People don't like congruency because they say, well, if you got one plan, it should work. Well, that door is locked. So you either look for another way out or break that motherfucker down. So I'm not gonna address this at the moment. So let me figure, is there another way out? Because this is a little harder of a task than I wanted. So what if you can bust a window, climb out of that motherfucker? You got your way out. So people don't understand redundancy. They don't understand how you live in life, right? Uh, you can absolutely, and I absolutely understand the STAR method. Because uh, uh, understand the situational awareness. Situational awareness is very important. You see what I'm saying? And then you have to say, okay, well, what has to get done around here? Okay, so you assess the situation. You tactically assess the situation. You're able to see, you know, how things are formulated. And then you just say, oh, I gotta do something about this. So you come up with a plan of attack, plan of attack. And then you have to resolve that situation. Now, if the plan of attack is working, you have to resolve it. So once the resolution is in place, is it resolved? Wait a minute, before it's resolved, let me search and assess the situation again. Let me do a spot check. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm doing a spot check, oh, okay, we all right. We got 100. Let's do a survey. You know what I'm saying? And let's keep that relationship. You know what I'm saying? But before any of that went into play, what should have taken place first? We should have ran a pilot. You know what I'm saying? We should have got our checks and balances, crossed our T's and dotted our I's. You don't just never put anything in production.
Yeah, yeah. You want to start out with your.
You want to start off with first of all a plan, a blueprint. Yes, sir. You want to take it from the root. How can we build this from the root?
Let's start in the root first. We're gonna start as we're gonna do that. I
In
look
the
at it as
mind, in the mind, it started in our mind.
start in the mind. You know what I mean? It really does. It really does. You know, that's the great thing about, you know what I mean, going on this journey, you know what I mean, of seeing yourself and rediscovering yourself. It's almost like a form of amnesia that they really trying to make us forget, but you know what I mean, it's time to remember. You know, folks shouldn't be afraid of their power, you know.
Yep.
And a lot of things that they probably might think that is, you know what I mean, just so what's the word I'm looking for? It might seem like a great task, you know, it's like so much needs to be done. It really started out with something simple, man. You know what I mean? You want to get better in life, you know what I mean? Make sure you treat people kind, you know?
Yeah.
You know, talk to people crazy, especially people who serve your food, you know what I mean? Because they
Ooh.
want to start, you know what I mean? You talk to people crazy in the fast food place, you go in there and get nutrition and got your food, they can poison your food and make you sick. So treat these people kind, you know?
Yeah, you
And just
should.
serve. You know what I mean? I think that's what we all really do. You know, that's what I see myself as. You know what I mean? I like that with people. I like being hospitable with people. You know what I mean? You know, whenever we ever had a little get together, yeah,
Man, Tony
I
will
do a
be
little
the
food
most
live,
hospital.
but really
Yeah.
I'm in the back of the scenes. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Make
for
sure that
sure.
food down, taking out the trash, make sure it don't be, you know, too messy when folks can hang around at the end of the night. Make sure you straighten up, you have them straighten up because or just doing it while you doing it while it's happening, so that you don't have a big mess at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just want to add this one thing because we're gonna
Go
end
ahead,
this
bro.
live. We're gonna close this live out with this one thing. I think people don't understand what we call, my good brother, custodialship. We're
Custodial.
custodians. We are custodians of the planet. We should treat each other and the planet because the planet has a memory too. This is a celestial body. It has a memory. It thinks, it gives you life, and it has what? Teammates, correspondents, planetarians, as well as the sun that gives you all of your nutrients, as well as what it provides right here. So when you are so arrogant, you got Elon fuck Musk. I'm sorry, fuck Musk. Running around here talking about Mars.
Funky money.
Funky Musk. Funk Musk talking about Mars, want to live on Mars, when in order to understand how to be extraterrestrial, you have to appreciate the plane that you own. So that's what, me and Triple T Size and me, and this is the team up of the Wheel This Podcast and Triple T Size and me. He coming. We gonna work on this podcast. You know what I'm saying? We gonna yeah, this brother got a lot to say. This is my brother-in-law, y'all. Yeah, we gonna do more work. So check it out.
Thursday, brother.
Yeah.
And, tomorrow, cause I ain't really, I gotta make chilling today. Like while we were talking, I might have heard a little bit of the sound. Like
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest cleaner, you know what I mean? While we were talking, I was up there spraying and cleaning out my stove. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know,
I feel you.
just doing something, you know what I mean, while we up there being productive. And, you know, I didn't do the whole kit yet, but, you know, I started with something, you know what I mean, because that stove had a lot of little stuff up in there. So that's what I was trying to do. Just take my little step at a time
Hey
and keep
man.
it on down.
Hey, cleanliness is next to godliness, man. So we gonna get up out here, man. This is just a little live for you guys tonight. Will This Podcast. You know what I'm saying?
And
We
y'all
gonna
please like and subscribe to my brother Danny, and I appreciate the folks that was here listening to us. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. And that's all I got to say. Thanks for having me on live, brother.
no problem, my brother. All is well, all is great. Peace. People.
Okay.
And don't forget, hold on. We gotta say it with them. Hey, don't forget. The will
Will is yours.
is
All right.
yours. Yeah.